Okay, we promised tonight's event is gonna be completely different from any other event we have. This is not any book that we do, it's a cookbook. So more fun, more interesting, and mouth-watering for sure. Okay, let's start, I think, from Spain, España.
Hello. Hola. Hola.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual book talk. For tonight, we will be exploring our latest cookbook, which is a bestseller, Bilhana, Wholefood Recipes from Egypt, Lebanon, and Morocco, which was published in June 2021, so this year. As you see, this is the book. I'm Suzanne Enawi. I'm the marketing manager at AUC Press and Bookstores, and I'll be moderating tonight's event. And it should take us for about an hour or so. And we're going to have a room for Q&A at the end. So if you want to ask any questions, please type them in the Q&A box you're going to find at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so that we don't miss it, because if you type it in the chat, sometimes we can see it. So the event is also broadcasted on Facebook Live on our Facebook page, the American University in Cairo Press, and it's going to be available afterwards on our Facebook and YouTube channel. So now let me introduce the authors and the photographer of Bilhana, Yasmine and Elgharably. You can say hi.
Hello.
So Yasmine is a self-taught home cook with a business background and a passion for Middle Eastern cuisine. She's the co-founder of CairoCooking.com, and she's a recipe sharing platform for Middle Eastern food. I follow it devotedly on Instagram as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice to know.
Shewekar Elgharably, you can also say hi, is an interior decorator, and in 2016 she became a certified health coach and recipe developer for healing and nutritious dish combinations. And last but not least, Yehia El-Alaily, who is a Cairo-based food and travel photographer with over 15 years experience. This is very brief intro about all of you, and we're so happy to have you with us tonight, but we want to know more about you. So maybe you could tell us, what does food mean to all of you?
What does food mean to you? Food for me is about connection and getting people together and talking and sharing and enjoying, and it creates an experience that everyone keeps on talking about later, and it's all about family and friends and connections, and this is for me. I always like my table to be full of people, and the only thing that brings people around the table is food.
I agree. Yasmine, you want to
Shewekar and I obviously share a history of food together because we're sisters. And food means a lot of memories as well. And to add to what she's saying, it means I relate to food in terms of memories. So whenever I'm trying anything, for some reason, it has to remind me of an occasion or a time past or a celebration and so on. It also is a way for me to show love to friends and family and close ones. I like to serve them with what they like. I like to feed them, basically, the Egyptian way, to stuff them with food. So it's definitely a way for me to show love.
And Yehia, since you're a food photographer.
I agree with Shewekar more that it's all about connection. You get connection with people, with cultures, with cities that you travel, connecting with people on the same table, eating the same food. It's mainly connection.
Okay. So what got you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The thing with food, Kamen, because you're saying it's connection across cultures. When you know your food and where you come from, and then you try other foods, you can relate in terms of, for example, when you have some mousse, like, for example, in the Middle East, and then you travel abroad and they have some mousses, So it's the same idea of a dough stuffed with something. And then you go to Latin America and there's a similar empanadas.
Yeah.
So you always have a conversation running up. We have the similar one. So it's even a way to open a conversation with strangers. So, and it's always, there's always things that are so similar in food that you might not find in your other things in your life, but you always can start off with food.
Yes. But what got you into this or writing a book? What brought up the idea?
I forgot in the years of writing the book. The 2.5 years of writing the book, we forgot. More, yes.
Yeah, it's a very lengthy process, I'm sure.
And for me, it was more about I haven't seen or I haven't encountered a modern, well-written cookbook from the Middle East. I've seen a lot written about Middle Eastern recipes by people who might have Middle Eastern heritage, but do not live in the Middle East anymore. And there's lots of that coming from England and the States, Middle Eastern books, but they're not of people living currently in the Middle East. And there's so much evolution that happened through the years. So it would be nice to have something coming from here, from inside the Middle East, in English to the world. So for me, it was about showcasing our recipes, even heritage recipes. And for me, it was about showing them as well, showing the locals as well, that you can do these recipes that they might fear in an easier way, and in a way that makes it more wholesome, more nutritious, and easier to cook. So for me, it was about that, showcasing our recipes to the world from inside the Middle East.
Okay. I've heard
For
that
me,
you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
No. I was going to move on to. I want to hear what you have to say about the.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we come from a family of home cooks. My mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and we still have nostalgia about certain dishes that were specially prepared on special occasions and so on. And so it becomes kind of a heritage, the dishes that we were used to eat. So I'm a type of person that would love to always modernize the heritage to bring it forward. For example, in my designs, I do that with furniture, with interior design. I always encapsulate the heritage as a path and modernize it with our modern words. So today, there's a whole craze about eating healthier, eating wholesome, using wholesome ingredients, fresh ingredients. So Yasmine and I, we collaborated to bring that forward. And what's better to leave a legacy with our idea.
Yes, true. I heard that you were preparing a very special festivities and holidays menu from a selection of recipes from within the book. And do you want to talk about this?
Sure. So we try to have a menu for Christmas that would be exciting and wholesome and a bit elaborate. So it's not your traditional turkey, Christmas turkey, but it's your lamb shoulder, which is much more Middle Eastern than a turkey for us. It's a festive for a festive time or a festive meal. So we prepare the menu where we have chestnut soup. Chestnuts in Egypt are not a delicacy, but they're special. They're not your everyday ingredient. So it's that time of the year when chestnuts come out and they're good and yummy and nutty and beautiful. So we're doing that creamy chestnut soup, obviously without any cream. It's dairy free. But
the whole book is dairy free.
The whole book is dairy free with
the whole book is dairy free, sugar free, gluten free.
Yeah.
Wow.
With a lot of vegan options.
And a lot of vegan options.
Yeah. So, so this recipe is creamy and nutty with the chestnuts. It has some garlic in it to complement the chestnuts, some thyme, So it's a special festive soup that you would do for friends or family when they come over.
It's warm. It keeps you warm during the winter.
It's a hug. It's a nice Christmas hug.
It's definitely different from any soups that we are used to here in Egypt, so worth trying. And we're gonna give away this soup recipe, not the actual soup, I wish. It's gonna be the food recipe for our attendees to try at home, and also we're gonna post it to Facebook so they can give it a try. And please, whenever you try it, post images and tag us, and we reshare them.
Let me tell you, the whole menu for the Christmas, the Christmas dinner are available locally right now, and during Christmas and seasonal. So, and we always make sure we do that when we choose dishes to cook in that day, because usually ingredients that are seasonal are much yummier and much more nutritious, obviously. So, so we chose the items based on what's in season and also what's festive and worth celebrating. After the chestnut soup, we also have the Romani, or the lentil eggplant pomegranate salad. It's called Romani in the Levant because it uses pomegranate molasses and pomegranate seeds as relation to Romani. This is a warm salad or just a stew style dish. So it's something in between. It's completely vegan. You cook the lentils and you roast the eggplants, and then you add them together with some garlic and pine nuts and spices, and then you have the fresh pomegranate on top with the fresh parsley and some toasted pine nuts, and you serve it warm. And it's always a nice vegan option to have. It's very filling. So if someone's not going to have the lamb shoulder that day, this would be filling and they'd be very happy with it. Even if you're having the lamb shoulder, you would want a spoon of that. It's always comforting and filling and good.
Yeah. So a lot of people come to our home and they say they don't eat lamb because they don't like the smell or they don't like the taste. It's too much for their taste buds. But then when they taste it, they taste it when we cook it. When we cook it, they really like it and say, "Oh my God, this is not lamb at all." So the amount of spices we use, and the honey, and the onions and fruits and the dried fruits, it takes away the lamb taste, the strong lamb taste.
But leaves you with a tender piece of meat.
and it's slow cooked, so it really falls off the bone when it's done. It's
an easy recipe, honestly.
It's a really easy recipe because you put everything together and you just put it in the oven.
Exactly. So you marinate it maybe a day before. So yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be even a day
that morning.
Before. Yeah, that morning of the day, you just put everything on top. And then 4 hours before the meal, you start heating your oven, and
or you can do it on the stove for a couple of hours as well.
Yes. So it can be done on the stove or in the oven.
Yeah,
both work.
Excellent option. I think we're tired of the turkey.
Yes.
So, lamb shoulder sounds interesting and tasty.
And actually, all the spices, which we use for the spice rub, these are called Ras El Hanout in Morocco. Okay. Why is it called Ras El Hanout? Because it's always at the top of the shop. Ras means top, and El Hanout means shop. So you find it always at the beginning, like at the entrance of the shop. And it's a combo of all these spices together. Of course, they sell it like in pieces more, and then you grind it before using. Yeah,
but they're very common spices to Egypt as well. It's easy to
yes, of course.
It's like a typical spice mix to Morocco, like our buharat, for example.
Even if you go to the spice market here, you tell them Ras El Hanout, they start preparing from all the different spices together.
Okay, Good to know.
But so now we chose to write them down properly because we don't know, because we want to make sure all the audience
A
in the
breakdown.
world will,
You need to break it down.
we broke it down to make sure anywhere in the world will be able to mix it. So it's easier to find. So if you find Ras al-Hanout, just buy it and do it. You don't need all the spices. So it's even easier. So next we have the vegetables, yes. This is basically a recipe to show off that you can do vegetables so easily. Like you don't have to worry about the vegetables. Just any winter vegetables, put them together, try to cut them in a size that would work, that they would roast together. So for example, a carrot would take longer than, what's in here? No, actually, they might take the same time.
Yes.
So here the vegetables here probably take the same time between the Brussels sprouts, the carrots, the cauliflower. So cauliflower is now really in season. It's really good. Brussels sprouts are now in season as well. So basically, once you have vegetables that you put together, have a good seasoning on them and put in the oven, usually end up with a very nice side dish.
And be creative. I mean, do not stick to recipes.
Exactly.
Just be creative. If you find parsnips, if you find sweet potatoes, if you find asparagus, broccoli, whatever you find in the market in front of you, just take it, rub it with some olive oil and salt and pepper
to start with, and put it in the oven.
Yeah.
And you're good to go. But just make sure it's florets, so it's not a big.
Some sumac, and you're good to go.
Yes. Or oregano, or
you can create your own spice mix for this.
Exactly. And you can do it with plants. You can do it with broccoli. You can do it zucchini, anything. You just need to understand more or less that's how long they need in the oven, if they're different vegetables.
And it's perfect to go with the lamb as well in the oven, like together at once.
Exactly.
Definitely. So the vegetables I would prepare just before the meal. So it comes out crispy and warm just before the meal. The maqluba. So the maqluba is the most festive dish of them all. not just because it has meat, veg, and carb, but also because you use around 2 pots, 1 tray. You use a lot of things to bring it together. But it's so worth it because when you put it on the table, there's this wow moment of when you remove the pot from over the maqluba and it's looking perfect on the plate, everyone is in awe and they're excited about it and it looks so fresh and nice and good and you just want to have some of it. So it's basically a meal in a pot. I think our mother used to do it when we had people over. We didn't have it like an everyday dish. It was a special dish. She used to do it with rice, these beef cubes, and eggplants. And then later we learned that in Levant they do it also with cauliflower and chicken with the rice or frika. So basically here we combine everything we like. So we put the frika, we put the beef cubes, and we put the cauliflower and the eggplants because we like both together. And at the end we sprinkled some cooked chickpeas and parsley. So it has everything we like from the Levant and from Egypt. So, and maqluba basically means upside down. So you prepare this dish, you can prepare it in advance, and then just before, half an hour before serving, you layer it up properly, put it on the stove, and then when your guests arrive, on the dining table, flip it. And it always, even if it falls apart, it will look delicious. So that's
delicious in the photos.
Yeah.
Yehia did his magic, I guess, as well.
Yehia tasted everything because all these pictures were done with no artificial zero waste and no artificial styling. So there's no spray on it to take a picture. It's all really natural. It's all natural. Like we put some olive oil just to make it shine a bit, but that's it. So everything was edible. So we ended up eating everything. Every shoot was a feast.
I wish this was my job. Next, we have a salad, right?
Yes, some freshness. But
for this salad, I always don't, I feel less guilty when I eat lots of beans next to my meal. So it's, you know, you feel like it's kind of taking anything.
All the carbs away, all the fat away.
And the calories away. So it just makes me feel good, any greens. Here we have, again, arugula, parsley. You can just use arugula, you can just use parsley and the mint leaves and whatever. You can add regular purslane. Yeah, you can purslane, you can use it with purslane, you can do it even with lettuce. You can keep on changing. Yes, you can have it with beetroot, you can have it with sweet potatoes or pumpkins, roasted, of course. And then we add a little bit of onions and some toasted nuts on top. And the dressing is very, very simple. The pomegranate molasses, the olive oil, sumac and garlic, and some limes and dried mint. Really simple. You can even have like a big jar of this dressing and just keep it in the fridge or even outside. Nothing will happen to it, and keep using it.
Yes, it's naturally preserved.
It's naturally preserved with the olive oil.
The thing is, in the book, you'll find a lot of recipes with olive oil, obviously, because it's from the region and it's always so yummy and good with everything. A lot of pomegranate molasses, I think we used a lot of pomegranate molasses in the book. We used a lot of eggplants. We used, I think, harissa a couple of times. We used pickled lime. It's very common in Egypt to use pickled lime. So we use that as well. We're very big on pickles generally. We used a lot of red onions, right?
Yes.
And this salad has actually green fava beans, but it's actually very interesting. Some boiled fava beans on top, which is extra protein for the salad. And we use a lot of nuts, toasted or caramelized with honey.
You can either toast the nuts or caramelize it on the stove with some coconut sugar.
Yeah. Or molasses, like I do. So I just want, but all the ingredients, I know now all over the world are available in Middle Eastern stores or Mediterranean pantry stores, more or less, and definitely in the Middle East, it's everywhere now. So, but they add a lot of flavor and they make things a bit more exciting, these ingredients. Yeah. Yes. So after this big fat meal, you want to freshen up with some ice cream, except it's not ice cream. It's just frozen bananas that are whipped up. It's
very simple. It's really very simple.
It's an ice cream. We call it an ice cream because it's nice, simple and nice. It's basically when you have overripe bananas at any point in your life, just pop them in the freezer. Just cut them up and pop them in the freezer. And anytime you feel like you want a dessert, use a blender to whip them up. Maybe you want to add some peanut butter, but you don't have to. They're good enough. You want to add some honey to sweeten it more, but you don't have to because overripe bananas are already so sweet. And you just eat it, and it's real refreshing. It's guilt-free. And here we added to it some pecans that were caramelized with molasses and some sea salt on top. And we added in between the ice cream, and then we froze it. And then when it comes out, you're eating bits of crunchy pecans in the middle of the banana. So it's a treat, honestly, and the kids love it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Ice cream, but it's nice cream. Minus the calories, but
and it's vegan, so yeah.
The avocado chocolate mousse. We were debating at the beginning whether to include avocado in our Mediterranean cookbook or not. But then it has become so widely used in the Mediterranean countries. It's become like a crop of the Mediterranean, not only Latin America. So it really makes a creamy pudding. You can make a very nice creamy pudding out of it. And we used fresh pomegranates with it.
So we created
and
the chocolate mousse with it.
yes, so if you taste this chocolate mousse and you don't know that it has avocados, you would never guess.
You will think it's dairy.
Yeah.
It's some kind of dairy inside.
Yeah.
Ah,
And actually, you can see the texture inside.
Yes, maybe we
You
can
can
serve.
see.
Some.
Oh, you're killing us.
Thing is that the thing is, although avocado is more widely available now, it's not always that ripe, and a lot of times you have to wait for a couple of weeks at home looking at it every day until it ripes up. But now it's really in season, like it's the season. So if you go buy it, you have to eat it within 2 days. And if you don't have anything to cook with it, just do the mousse. It's good. That's how it looks. It's very creamy.
Oh, it looks yummy.
Hopefully technology very soon will be able to serve food.
Yeah, the downside of a virtual event, okay? But hopefully when we have a physical face-to-face event, you bring some of these yummy
Yes.
recipes with you because we're dying here.
Indeed.
Definitely. It's also pomegranate season, so we're celebrating that. And add some crunch and freshness to the mousse, because the avocado is very creamy and rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes only 15 minutes to create, to prepare.
Yeah, nothing.
That's
Yes,
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, some juices for the dinner. So this is just a simple lemon بالنعناع, just sweetened with honey. It's just a simple. We thought this is so Egyptian. Like anywhere you go, you order lemon. You might have it at home, done nicely with freshly with some mint and honey.
And without the milk that they serve.
Oh, sometimes they mix it with, yeah. So yeah.
But it includes orange blossom, which is in mazah, I think.
Yes.
might برتقال.
لا
My
ماور.
لا orange blossom mazah.
Mazah.
Yes, it's mazah.
This gives it a different kick, yeah.
Yeah. It gives it, and it sweetens a bit as well.
That's the lemons here are squeezed. They are not
On the blender.
and
They're
then
not blended.
It's a juice.
hand squeezed.
Yeah, the blender makes it very bitter, actually.
Yes, yes.
لا, this is old school squeezing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I think we also have another. Yeah.
That's the lab.
So jaleb is very popular in Shem, after. Yeah, but they do it with pomegranate molasses, so we're doing it here with date molasses.
Because it's more popular here.
It's more popular in Egypt, date molasses, and it's so good. So you basically diffuse diffuse the date molasses with some cold water, and you add some nuts, slivered almonds or pine nuts, and you have a jaleb. It's a very simple sweet drink.
Yes, I've never tried it before. The date molasses. So
Yeah. The date molasses is sold now in Amtinan and in
Everywhere.
all supermarkets now.
Everywhere.
yeah,
And Lina
Egypt is well known for the dates.
It's also very easy to make your own. You can have like
yeah, but it's never that clear.
yeah.
You have to mix it and squeeze it.
That's
I
just
would buy
fine.
it. Buy
Yeah.
from a trusted source where it's 100% date molasses, no sugar added.
No, that's a full menu, and it's all Middle Eastern, which is something that you guess would be completely taken by. Not your typical Christmas dinner or even Thanksgiving. It's just traditional.
And there are many
healthy.
other recipes. There are many other recipes in the book that can also match a Christmas dinner. So you can create another menu out of it, not just that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure. So, okay. So yes.
So everyone's getting all the recipes of the menu.
We've agreed to one, but if you'd like, we can give more.
Whatever you decide.
We can give out a couple and post them on our Facebook page, and also all of our attendees, since we've got your emails, we can send it by email afterwards. But of course, if you want to know everything, you should definitely buy the book. I wanted to ask Yehia about how he transformed the usual dishes into this work of art, basically.
We were trying actually to represent it in a very modern way.
Yeah.
We want to stay away from all the brass elements that people are having, the traditional Middle Eastern look. We stayed away from all these lines. We used a lot of handmade pottery in Egypt, from Fayoum and from several cities in Upper Egypt as well. We were trying to blend with some of the wallpaper in the backgrounds. We want to make things look very natural.
Yeah, and it looks very clean as well. I mean, it's very
I think
modern and clean.
there's no clutter, a minimal clutter.
Well, chickpea soup di kaman, it's a nice option
for the winter.
For the winter, yes, for Christmas.
By luck, I swear by luck, not intended.
You know the halabesta that we drink sometimes, the one with the chickpeas and the spices and the tomato. So this is very close, but it's a soup.
Okay.
In a bowl, not in a cup.
I love it. It's one of my favorite winter drink, actually, with the sahlab as well.
Yes.
But, yes. Okay. I wanted to ask something. Okay. So I want to know, each and every one of you, your favorite recipe in the book.
Every time I'm asked this question, I say a different recipe. Because it's very hard to choose.
I know.
It's very hard to choose. A lot of the recipes come from our homes. Like they're literally done on a weekly or monthly basis at home. So so things like this, like the mousse, like chocolate mousse and the banana ice cream, I always have them for the kids. So they're always there, and I love them because they're simple and the kids love them, and it's a win-win. Recipes like the khubeza and so on are more seasonal, but they're so good when they're in season. It's so yummy. So that's I love. I'm usually into greens and salads more than meats and carbs. So I would say most of the salads are a favorite. And actually someone told me, reminded me today of the black eyed peas and with the spinach recipe. It's so good.
That was so good.
That was very good.
Yeah. And also the vine leaves pie.
Oh yes.
It's one of my favorites too.
Also
when I first married, I used to live in Miami, and I used to roll. I used to take forever and eat it immediately.
Exactly. What's the point? It takes you 2 hours to prepare.
Yeah.
To eat.
So we had to improvise to make it faster. And actually, the filling, you can use anything. You can be very creative with the filling.
Yeah.
People need to lose their fear of just following the recipe by the book. You know, if you don't find an ingredient, look for something else. Use something else.
Or omit it if it's not important.
So actually, what I really like, which is totally different from my character, is the spinach chips.
I wonder what they taste like. I mean, I never thought of spinach as
Taste
chips.
one. They are so nice. You should try it out. These are really good, which is not me, actually.
There's also the recipe of the sharkaseya, the chicken sharkaseya, you know, and it's always known that it's protein and carbs, and it has bread in it and so on, and it's done without any grains, so it turned out really good too.
Yes, it's nut based.
Yes, and it's a walnut based recipe
sauce. So Yehia is a junk food lover. We converted him for a bit, but he's back.
Change.
He's back, but
he needs another book. He needs another book.
Go back.
Yeah, I think it comes with the job. Is always in a photo shoot. So we respect all.
Always on the go, and you shoot junk food more.
Sometimes
tastes
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the book includes recipes from Egypt, Lebanon, and Morocco. Why these 3 countries in specifically? I mean, what, in your opinion, what connects them?
When we finished the book, when we finalized the book and everything, we have the name and everything, we thought we need a tagline. But it was, the editor suggested that since she realized that most of the recipes come from Egypt, Morocco, and Lebanon. So it would be Lebanon and Syria. So
the Levant, actually, these are the main three cuisines in the Middle East.
Exactly, and these are actually the main three cuisines in the Middle East. And if you add the GCC, maybe it comes in more stuff. But I mean, for us, North Africa, Middle Eastern North Africa, these are the main cuisines. So we realized that we were very affected by it, and I think it comes from being in Egypt, Mediterranean culture and Middle Eastern culture combined. So all these countries are on the Mediterranean and they're Middle Eastern, and this is how we're affected.
And North Africa.
And North Africa, yeah, more or less. So so we realized they're all from there, but the editor suggested this. For us, it was all about the whole food recipes part, because we wanted to show that these are dishes that are wholesome. They're good for you, they're filling, everyone will love them, and they're just good and loving and everything.
It sounds like it's also easy to prepare. You don't have to be like a master chef to do it.
No.
It's hassle-free.
We wanted to put away the stigma of that maqlouba is so hard to prepare. This is my mother's dish. I never touch it. I never get close to it. And things like what else? Like a lot of recipes were things people like khubeza, like busara, like people are scared of them because it's always a parent or a grandparent that does them so well, and you always assume it's so hard. But we wanted to take that away and simplify the steps and the directions and make it all about making it your own, making it simplifying it, make it more approachable and celebrate it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to ask our attendees if anyone wants to ask a question, they can write it in the Q&A box.
There are also a lot of seafood recipes. We didn't talk
yes,
about
there's a whole section that we did not include.
Yes.
Yeah, the contents include, okay, we have breakfast and mezza, soups and stews, salads, pulses and greens, veggies and greens, roasts and grills, and from the sea, and sweet things, and finally drinks. So you got it, basically everything's covered here. So the salads are not like the veggies, it's different.
I think there are 98 recipes.
Almost, yes.
98
less than
recipes. Just less than 100 recipes in total.
Okay, and if there's one recipe that you wish that you could add to the book now that the book is published and you've done working on it, something that later on you thought, oh, I wish I could add it to the book.
We had a veal recipe that was omitted because it wasn't appealing to Western countries.
Ooh, yeah.
No, the veal, obviously veal is very expensive in the United States, and AUC Press wanted to make sure that they appeal to the American market because it's one of the biggest markets for cookbooks. So we had to omit that recipe, and we had to try to work with other recipes, like look at other meat recipes to replace it.
Okay, and I see that your book also depends a lot on spices. So spices rule.
Of course.
Why is that?
Spices rule. They're all the flavors of everything, of all cuisines. So the Mediterranean, the Middle Eastern, each has their own spice combinations. In India has its own spice combinations, and Asia has its own spice combinations. So, and it all depends on the kind of weather you live in. You will find the spices that rule this region. In Latin America, you find totally different spices that they use. So what gives the flavor really to your to the Middle Eastern or Mediterranean recipes are the spices that belong here, like thyme, oregano, basil, cilantro, parsley.
But these are greens.
Yeah, but so they can be used as
dry
seeds.
yeah,
Right.
dry. Yeah.
Yes,
garlic. These are all considered in the family of spices.
Okay, we have a question about spices as well, about sumac, which is
sumac, طبعا.
yeah. What some Ingrid is asking, what is special about the spice?
Okay, sumac is an amazing spice that gives like a lemony, limey, zesty flavor, and it's reddish. It also adds a special color to It adds a special color. So this is how it looks. Can you see it?
Into the chocolate.
Into the chocolate.
Yeah.
So it's an earthy, zesty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very popular in the Levant.
You can see the color a little bit. It's too red.
Yes.
Dark red.
Yeah.
It's dark red, burgundy.
Yes, and it gives an amazing zesty taste to the food. With arugula tastes amazing. With purslane tastes amazing. With okra. With what else?
And as a marinade, as a
rub. Yeah, we have a chicken soma recipe here.
We have مسخن.
Yeah, we have مسخن.
Yes.
Lots of
Yes.
Yeah. I just got
and the semen, the quail. We have a quail recipe that uses a lot of sumac also inside.
We actually use a lot of sumac.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's someone who really read the book.
That works.
Yeah. And it doesn't get with the oven and with the cooking. It doesn't get bitter.
Not like lime. Lime will get bitter. It doesn't. It's true.
Okay, so you have a question from one of our guests. She's saying, Alia Noor, okay, she's saying, thank you so much for your wonderful introduction to Bilhana. I look forward to using it. Do you have plans to give cooking lessons or perhaps open a restaurant?
We get this question a lot of opening a restaurant or not. And I think opening a restaurant in a country like Egypt and running a whole operation and having employees and so on kills the passion and takes away of the love of hosting.
Away from the cooking.
Yeah. The joy really comes from hosting people and and sharing recipes and
cooking lessons because it's fun and you share all the love you have for the recipe and the food.
And as much as I love sharing food around my table, I love to go people's homes and actually try their own food and recipes, and it gives me a lot of joy too.
Yeah, I think Alia is interested actually in tasting the food as well to see how delicious it is and maybe learn how to do it like a live.
We actually will have a retreat. We'll have a retreat soon in Fayoum, and we can cook together out of the book.
Okay, Alia,
we'll keep you posted, Ali.
Yeah, and follow their.
She follows Bilhana Cookbook on Bilhana_cookbook on Instagram. We'll be announcing there.
Okay, yeah, make sure to follow. And we share the events they're doing to our followers on AUC Press as well. Okay, so a question to Yehia. So how does Yehia design his photographs, and how long does it take to shoot one dish? The behind the scenes.
How long does it take?
Some dishes took 3 days.
Some of the stuff it took us long time, but on average around 1 to 2 hours per shot.
And did you usually
design accordingly to the dish itself? There's no rule of thumb. It goes with the flow with every dish.
I think at the beginning we took more time, and then we became better.
It became faster.
And some of the recipes to take good pictures of, we deconstructed them. Like we had every ingredient on its own, and then we started styling it together.
Right in front of the camera.
And we changed the directions in the recipe so it matches the picture. Versus it could have been different if there was no picture. But which has made it even better, because at the end of the day, I want people to present a dish on the table they're proud of. So it will look like this, and it's not
the outcome should be similar to what people will do at home.
like the pictures we get on Instagram of people cooking from the book is exactly like what we have on the picture, because this was not properly styled like a food style. No, it was styled as in we styled it, like we would serve it. So, and the directions guide you that you at the end have the same dish looking the same. So, so we got better at it.
So did you shoot like one recipe at a time or more than one recipe?
No, per day we used to shoot like 6 to 7 recipes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And some recipes we reshoot after a while.
Yeah, when some ingredient comes in season, we shoot all the recipes that has the ingredient because we don't know when we're gonna have it again. So we just plan it accordingly.
Okay.
So there's a day and then there's a shooting day.
We have a question for Yasmine and Shewekar. Does cooking make you happy?
Very happy. It's part of meditation that I have. Like it's really meditative. You just forget. Yasmine likes to bake because baking you need to stick more to a recipe. I like to cook more because you just use the ingredients you have. So it becomes a meditation for me, personally.
Wow.
By now, I don't look at it. Yeah. I'm not scared of it. Just do things. Like baking with natural ingredients is easier than baking with non-natural, with butter and sugar and kind of, actually.
Yeah.
Because you can adjust easily. So yeah, it's definitely whenever I'm in. I had a long day. Although I would have a long day and put my kids to sleep, and I'm tired, you would find me in the kitchen baking something. This is how I'm unwinding. Like at 11 p.m. I'm baking.
Wow. And did this change during COVID, or did your cooking increase? Or
Oh my God.
Yes.
During COVID, it was crazy. The whole house was cooking.
Yes.
Everyone was cooking.
And we tried different cuisines.
We went, and the kids were cooking. My 8-year-old was cooking.
yeah, I think everyone got into baking and cooking and making their own bread at home, and it took it to the extreme.
I made naan, tortillas, sourdough.
Wow.
All types of things. Yeah. We played a lot because we were home, which was great actually, because you spend a lot of time in the kitchen anyways. I have a dining table in the kitchen, like a dining bar in the kitchen. So the kids would be sitting and eating dinner, and I'm heating food or cooking, and we have a TV. So we actually live in the kitchen. So it's an important room in the house for sure. A happy room.
Here's another question. Do you ever have guests over and a disaster in the kitchen? I'm not sure.
And disaster
All the time. All the time. All the time.
I burn a lot of things. I burn things.
And do you have like a rescue recipe that you would cook in the last minute? Like if you have someone showing up to your home?
Depends what you have in the fridge. But that's the perk of buying seasonal ingredients all the time.
Yes.
So you always have something in the fridge to cook up. And like the winter veggie recipe that you have, it's just roasted veg in the oven. So I have olive oil and any type of spice, and I have a veg, it's gonna go in the oven, and I have a side dish. Any protein will come out. We'll see it's a defrosted or not. We'll have to work with it.
Also, a quick rescue is something like frittata or like shakshuka. You have eggs and you have some vegetables, and just create something.
Shakshuka style.
Yeah, you can have a shakshuka with peppers. You can have a shakshuka with only greens. You can have a shakshuka with zucchini. You can have a frittata. I mean, it comes always handy because most of the time you have eggs in the fridge.
And any type of veg and tomatoes.
Okay, so Rosemary is asking a question. She already bought the book in June, so she's quite familiar with it and is using it all the time. But she says that she loves the photos for the iced Turkish coffee. I love it too, I have to say. But she says it must have been a hard one to take.
I think this is the second shot, it's not the first one.
We took this like 2-3 times actually. It's done on several times.
It's not the final one. It's not the first one.
We have a history.
And I think,
yes.
And actually, And all of a sudden he did this one and no one was looking.
I did this on my own.
Yeah, I think so. I think we had a couple of shots and I think I was satisfied and you weren't. And when I was looking the other way, Yehia shot. Yeah, but it's lovely. I love it too.
And that's what challenging was.
Yeah. It's actually, this picture is a very good example of what we were trying to do, like having the kanaka or the pot, the coffee pot at the back, which is a very ethnic looking piece with a very modern glass and a tabletop. So, and doing something that is very coffee, very heritage-like in a new way. So it's that exactly what we were trying to do with the whole book and all the pictures and all the recipes.
Yeah, someone was asking about the photo. I don't have it open on my screen. I'll try to look for it till we get to other questions.
Which photo are they looking for?
The Turkish.
Here. Yes. The iced coffee.
Nice Turkish coffee.
Salma, I know you're a tea drinker. You're not a coffee drinker. It's not you. Not for you. The one asking about the photo. There.
Yeah. Okay, someone is asking, Yehia.
Thank you.
Is it important to taste the dish before you photograph it? Does it impact how you take the photo? Or
sometimes, yes. Not always, but sometimes, yes, we do.
Okay, so if you're not a fan of the dish, the photo wouldn't be that, amazing. Does it really affect how you take it?
What there's something Bonnie didn't want to photograph.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to remember. I remember. We have a really nice, very yummy herring recipe in the book. I recommend it to everyone. It's a very nice appetizer. And I think Yahya is not a fan of herring. He doesn't eat herring. So he was very stressed about taking that picture. How he will do it and the smell and don't do this to me and I wanted the process in it. If you look at the pictures, there are 4 pictures.
Yeah, I will open it.
But he's cutting up and Yahya was like, get done with it. Just finish it. I don't want to do kill it. Do quickly. يلا.
لو كان في سيخ.
لا it's a big story. I've done it before بس
Yeah.
Let me show it to you so people understand. Can you see the picture? Yeah. So you see the cutting process. I honestly, I honestly love the herring salad. I would eat it any day with anything.
Actually, the problem is that everything is the same color. The herrings and the tahini salad, you have only the greens on top. That's the only different color. So it was very flat. If you do it in a final format.
And the hand model here is Amr, his assistant. He played a huge role in the book as well.
Yeah.
So it's either his hands or my hands.
Either.
That's it.
Both of you. Taking over.
Okay, we have a question from Salma saying, what has been most challenging about this book and bringing it to life?
The recipe testing. Because we don't cook with measures. We cook. We had to step back and measure
and write
and
document
and test and to give right measures and to give the right steps. So sometimes we just do it haphazard, but then we had to stop and do directions as best we could to get the most flavor out of them. So if I'm cooking the onions first, I make sure they're golden, they're not just white when I add another ingredient. So you get the most flavor out of the onion. Versus if I'm cooking at home, I might just do it quicker,
Yeah.
So we try to be very particular about the directions to get the most flavor out.
Yeah, the most difficult recipe to write was the stuffed onions. Remember?
Yes.
It took forever. Yeah.
To tell people how to get the onion out and put the stuffing in.
Yes, it was it was a bit difficult to describe. So, but I'm happy that I got reviews that some people actually cooked it and they loved it.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite mahshi ever, honestly.
Onions, stuffed onions.
Yeah.
It's so good, and it's different from anything else.
And until now, if someone tells me they tried a recipe from the book, and I'm like, the directions work. I'm always, directions were okay. Because we work with that a lot.
Okay, we have another question. Congratulations on the book. This is Munira Suleiman, okay? And she's saying, were there any recipes that you felt were problematic to include in the book? Other than the veal, I guess.
I don't see the question. Say again, sorry. Were there any
recipes that you felt were problematic to include in the book?
Problematic to include in the book?
I can't remember right now. There were a couple that.
And then I wanted to do the chops, lamb chops with the chocolate coffee.
Yes, with the coffee rub.
Coffee rub. It wasn't problematic, but there is no consensus on it. The coffee rubbed lamb chops. Nothing was problematic, but we had to wait sometimes to do a recipe until the ingredients comes in season.
Waiting for the season.
So yeah. So we wait for the season to come to be able to do the recipe and for it to look nice and green and fresh. This is the issue. But nothing was problematic, but that we had to just plan it properly. In the first year, we were still all over the place, experimental, so it took a bit of time to get into mode. Once we got into mode, we had plans. So next Feb, we're doing the guava pomegranate because they're together in season. So yeah, so that was more or less.
Okay, we have a question. I already asked this Salma, but she was asking also about any recipes you wish you had included after finishing the book.
Yeah, there are a lot of
when the
things
book
that
came out. The book came out a year later because of COVID. It was delayed. So when the book came out, I was like, oh, if I knew it was going to be that late, I wanted to add this and this because you learn so much in the process. Yeah. And the book, we gave out the book a year and 2 months before it was published. So in the year and 2 months, there's so much that we learned and wanted to add. When the book came out, it was kind of that, okay, what's next?
Maybe part 2? Volume 2, maybe?
Maybe.
So what tips can you give to somebody who is new at cooking Middle Eastern food?
Okay, where do you live, Ingrid?
In Cairo, but Ingrid is not really used to cooking Middle Eastern food.
Yeah,
Ingrid is Greek, actually.
Okay, Greek. So it's very close. It's very, very close. Yes.
We have a Greek salad as well
in the book.
And we have
I mean, which ingredients you think someone who's not from the region would be a little bit
spices wise, I would use sumac, nutmeg, cinnamon, cloves, garlic, what else?
Olive oil,
ghee, aubergines, eggplants. They work with anything. Arugula, yes, lentils,
chickpeas,
frike.
So out of all of these ingredients, what is your one ingredient that you always use, you cannot let go?
Olive oil.
I expected that. Yeah, I thought that.
Yasmine,
I'm going. Let's try to center. It has to be some kind of vegetable blend. Yeah, garlic. Yeah. How can you?
And to me, eggplants are the king of vegetables.
It's cauliflower lately.
Cauliflower. I love cauliflower. I make a lot of cauliflower rice to substitute for grains and carbs, and they're fantastic. Even my kids love it now.
Okay, this question is for Yehia. We know Yasmine and Shewekar, you both come from a family of home cooks, and this is how and why you were influenced. But Yehia, how did you get started in your career as a photographer? especially for food photography?
Food just came by coincidence, pure coincidence, and went really well. But photography in general, I came through. I was working as a landscape architect before, so I switched. I got a couple of jobs kind of while working. I started shooting some architecture. Then I moved into food and hospitality mainly. But that's briefly here. But food, it's a very nice thing to shoot, to work on.
Okay, thank you. So I guess we're already past the hour, and no more questions we have right now. But I wanted to thank you so much, Yasmine, Shewekar, and Yehia, for this wonderful, spontaneous talk. We wanted to have a structure, and you were totally for being spontaneous, and I completely agree with you. It made it more fun, and it got our audience to interact with us as well. So, and thank you everyone for joining us. It was a pleasure hosting you for another.
For having us. And thank you for everyone who joined. It really means
yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, it was a pleasure, and I hope everyone would have wonderful holidays everywhere around the world. And don't forget, this makes
happy holidays and Bilhana and everything you eat.
Yes, this is a great gift book, guys. Okay, and you can find it worldwide. You can buy it from Amazon, bookshop.org. You can buy it here in our AUC bookstores or from Diwan. You can get it home delivered to your doorstep. So please don't hesitate to order this for your loved ones to get them to try cooking Middle Eastern. Yes. So thank you again for everyone. And you're going to find the recording of this talk on our Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye, everyone.